The moment Derek Voss's fist connected with my cheekbone in that polished conference room, the sharp crack echoed off the mahogany walls like a gunshot. Pain bloomed across my face. Copper flooded my mouth. But I kept smiling. That smile wasn't for Derek. It was for Grandma Evie, whose plan had just snapped shut around him like steel jaws. Everyone else gasped. My mother Rebecca froze mid-breath. Brandon Voss looked stunned. The lawyers leaned forward, but I knew the real damage had been done weeks earlier, when the reserved addendum was sealed. To see how a single punch at a will reading unraveled an entire fraudulent empire built on family trust. We start where the cracks first appeared in our home on Maple Lane in Willow Creek, Connecticut. My name is Sophia Lang. At 33, I spent my days as a pediatric nurse at Riverside General Hospital, surrounded by the steady beep of monitors, the antiseptic sting in the air, and the fragile hope of children fighting illness. It was honest, exhausting work that grounded me. But at home, I felt invisible in my own family. Derek Voss entered our lives 7 years ago, right after my father died from a sudden heart attack. Mom was shattered, barely holding herself together in the big colonial house that had been our family's anchor for 3 generations. Derek arrived with his booming landscaping and home renovation business, Voss Home Renovations, his shiny pickup trucks lining the driveway, and smooth promises of security and love. He had a way of making Mom feel seen again, wrapping her in attention and financial stability. Within months, they were married. He moved in with his son Brandon, then 20, soft-featured and convinced that sharing his father's last name entitled him to everything. They claimed the master bedroom, the finished basement, the double garage. Derek stood in what had been Dad's study that first week, announcing his simple rules. The bill payer decides. Questions get you nowhere. Mom nodded quietly. Her part-time bookkeeping job paid for her car, and little else. Derek made sure she remembered that daily. I kept my childhood bedroom upstairs, the one with the window overlooking the garden where Dad once read me stories under the oak tree. Derek tolerated my presence because kicking out his new wife's daughter would tarnish his image in our tight-knit suburban neighborhood. Tolerance, though, came with constant reminders of my place. Brandon loved pointing it out. Dad's house. Dad's rules now. He'd smirk while sprawling across the couch Mom and I had chosen years earlier. He worked at Voss Home Renovations' late arrivals, early departures, mostly scrolling through his phone or flexing new purchases. Derek never corrected him. The hierarchy was clear. Voss blood first, everyone else second. The one person who made me feel truly seen was Grandma Evie, Mom's mother. She lived in a modest bungalow across town that smelled of lavender sachets and fresh shortbread. Every Sunday afternoon, I'd drive over. We'd sit with Earl Grey tea and talk for hours. Don't let him chase you away. Soph, she'd say, her elegant fingers tracing the rim of her cup despite arthritis. This too shall pass. People like Derek always overreach eventually. I thought it was just grandmotherly wisdom. I didn't realize she was already several steps ahead. Grandma's health started slipping last year. Small strokes stole pieces of her memory and words at unpredictable times. Derek, who had barely visited her before, suddenly became attentive. He offered to handle her finances, review insurance, suggest home improvements to make her bungalow safer. Just looking out for your mother, Rebecca, he'd tell Mom with that wide, practiced smile while carving steak at dinner. Mom, grateful and overwhelmed by double shifts at her job, thanked him. I grew suspicious when Grandma forgot my name during one visit, the same woman who had beaten me at Scrabble the week before. Derek had stopped by her place that morning to check in. The foundation of our home felt like it was shifting, and not from the old settling beams. Derek began locking himself in the study for meetings with estate lawyers. Brandon dropped hints about big changes coming with smug certainty. You might want to think about finding your own apartment, Sophia, he said one evening out of nowhere. 33 and still at home? Doesn't look great. I bit back the urge to remind him that 27 and riding Daddy's coattails looked worse. Silence had become my shield. Then I found the document that changed everything. It was mixed in with junk mail and receipts on Derek's desk while I searched for the new Wi-Fi password he'd changed again. Second mortgage agreement on Grandma Evie's bungalow, $180, 000 lien. Signed 3 months earlier. The beneficiary? Boss Home Renovations. The signature looked close to hers but wrong, the loops too tight. The final flourish missing her usual flourish. I knew her handwriting from decades of birthday cards and notes I kept in a box under my bed. That night sleep evaded me. Derek visited Grandma twice weekly now. Always alone. Always with folders. He told Mom it was Medicare paperwork or insurance updates. She believed him. I began investigating during hospital breaks. Scrolling bank statements Grandma had added me years ago just in case. Withdrawals appeared. $4,000 here. $7,000 there. Labeled as consultation fees or wire transfers timed exactly with Derek's visits. In 6 months, almost $45,000 drained away. I reached out to a new lawyer quietly. Attorney Elena Vargas had a quiet office downtown with the prestige of old money. After reviewing what I'd gathered, she couldn't discuss specifics, but educated me hypothetically on elder financial abuse. No contest clauses. Reserved addendums. Undue influence. Proof of coercion or diminished capacity changes everything, she said, sliding a card across her desk. Perpetrators can lose more than inheritance. They face charges. Forfeiture. Prison. She taught me evidence preservation. One-party consent recording in Connecticut. Building cases without tipping off the target. I left with pages of notes and a plan forming. Derek thought his renovation company provided perfect cover for the transfers, permits, supply orders, inspections. But those leave trails. With help from a high school friend at city planning, I mapped discrepancies. Invoices for projects on non-existent or abandoned lots. Ghost contractors registered in Delaware. The pattern was clear. Derek visited Grandma on her confused days. Got signatures. Funnel money through shell companies like Voss Asset Partners and BRK Holdings, names too close to his own ego. I documented meticulously. Spreadsheets. Timestamps. Screenshots of forged signatures. Medical notes showing Grandma's lucidity varied, but Derek timed visits for sundowning hours. Brandon helped unwittingly one night over beers. Dad's smart. Why wait for inheritance when you can tap assets now? Just business. I recorded it all. The pressure built slowly. Derek pushed Mom to name him financial conservator for Grandma for her own good. Exhausted. Considered it. I stayed silent. Counting evidence. Grandma Evie had clearer days than Derek realized. On one of those mornings, I sat with her in her sunlit living room, holding her hand. I know what he's doing, I whispered. Her eyes sharpened. I've been waiting for you to see it, sweetheart. Now let's talk about my real will, the one your grandfather's old lawyer prepared before Derek interfered. She smiled the same knowing smile I would later wear in the conference room. He thinks he's playing chess. I've been playing a longer game. We worked with Attorney Vargas to build the trap. New healthcare proxy documents witnessed during lucid hours at the hospital. With doctors and a social worker confirming capacity on video. A cautious codicil filed securely. The reserved addendum, sealed. To be opened only upon contestation or evidence of undue influence. The violet no. The Evelyn Grant Revocable Trust became the centerpiece. It protected her assets, gave Mom lifetime residency rights in the family home, which would pass to me, named me co-trustee with a bank, and explicitly excluded Derek due to conflicts. Every signature came with video proof of lucidity and medical witnesses. Grandma spoke clearly to the camera. "I want my daughter safe. But I won't let anyone steal from us through her kindness." Evidence mounted. Grandma's neighbor, Mrs. Harlan, had logged visitors for years. "That man comes Tuesdays like clockwork with a briefcase," she told me, showing her notebook. Visits matched every financial drain. Derek escalated. He tried pressuring Grandma to revoke the trust during an unscheduled visit, bringing his poker buddy lawyer. I arrived in time, phone recording in pocket, intervening as the concerned granddaughter. "Just sign here to fix the confusion," Derek urged. Grandma refused. The lawyer fled when I appeared. Derek threatened consequences before leaving. I delivered everything to Assistant DA Sarah Klein at the Elder Fraud Division. "This is substantial," she said, reviewing files over burnt coffee-scented conference table. "But we need more for criminal charges. Self-incrimination would seal it." I kept recording. Dinner conversations about Grandma's confusion, Brandon bragging about future inheritance and promotion. The house became unbearable. Derek changed locks on my room, cut hot water to my bathroom, emptied my fridge shelf. I adapted Jim's showers, hospital Wi-Fi, trunk groceries. Each cruelty was photographed, time-stamped, added to the file. Mom started noticing. Late one night, she slipped into my room with copies of papers Derek had made her sign over the years. Powers of attorney. Property transfers. "I thought I was paranoid," she whispered. "We reviewed them by phone light." I hugged her. "You were grieving. He struck when you were weakest." For the first time in years, we felt like mother and daughter again. Grandma passed peacefully on a Tuesday, holding my hand. Her last words, "Make him pay every penny. Sophomore." I promised. After the funeral, Derek's mask slipped. "Your free ride ends after the reading," he announced at breakfast 3 days later. "Start packing." I buttered toast calmly. "Whatever you think is best." Derek. My compliance unsettled him more than argument would. Brandon grew bolder, moving my things into the rain, wearing Grandpa's watch. The house turned into psychological warfare, daily password changes, ransacked room, inventory of jewelry. I moved critical documents to a safety deposit box. Mom kept her purse with her constantly. 3 days before the reading, Derek presented Mom a post-nuptial agreement cementing control over any inheritance. Just a formality to protect assets. Mom's hands shook. She told him she needed to think. That night she came to my room again. "Whatever happens at the reading, trust me and Grandma," I said. She squeezed my hand. The morning of the will reading dawned bright and inappropriate for the storm about to break. I dressed in a professional blazer, minimal jewelry, respectable granddaughter armor. In my purse, encrypted USBs, recording phone, emergency envelope from Attorney Vargas. Derek wore his best suit, fresh haircut projecting authority. Brandon fidgeted in wrinkled khakis, already eyeing luxury upgrades. Mom sat between us in the car, her hand finding mine when Derek looked away. The law office of the original firm, now handled by capable junior partner Samuel Chun, smelled of dark wood and quiet legacy. Chun verified identities for the court reporter. He produced the manila envelope sealed with red wax, Grandma's last will, updated 6 weeks before her passing, revoking all prior versions. The estate, the Maple Lane house valued around $420,000. Investment accounts totaling $320,000. Personal effects. And a reliable sedan. Derek leaned forward confidently. He expected the old simple while leaving everything to Mom. To my daughter Rebecca, Chin read, "My love and hope she finds her strength." Mom's breath caught. Derek's grip on her shoulder tightened. The remainder goes into the Evelyn Grant Revocable Trust. Trustees First National Bank and granddaughter Sophia Lang. The room chilled. Derek snarled. Impossible. Check again. She wasn't competent. Chun continued calmly about the trust provisions. Lifetime residency for mom in the house.
Eventual transfer to me.
Maintenance by trust. Derek stood, face darkening. Which brings us to the sealed addendum, Chun said, producing the second envelope. Opened only upon contestation or claims of undue influence. He broke the wax. The room held its breath. The addendum listed documentation of systematic exploitation totaling over $300,000, forged signatures, recorded coercion, medical evidence of timed confusion, neighbor logs, shell company trails. Any contesting party faced disgorgement and statutory penalties. Derek turned on me. Fury volcanic. You manipulated a sick old woman. Chun interrupted smoothly. We have video of Mrs. Grant lucidly explaining her wishes with full capacity evaluations. Would you like to see? Derek demanded to leave. Brandon stared at his phone as notifications hit. Accounts frozen. Truck flagged. Company lines suspended. That's when Derek lunged. His fist connected hard. I tasted blood, but held the smile Grandma taught me. Chaos erupted. Mom screamed. Brandon froze. The court reporter kept typing. Derek grabbed a crystal paperweight. Arm raised. The door burst open. Hartley County Sheriff's Department, weapon down. Deputy Reyes commanded. Hand on her service pistol. Behind her, 2 deputies and ADA Sarah Klein. Derek froze. Put it down, sir. The paperweight thudded to the carpet. Cuffs clicked. You're under arrest for assault. You have the right to remain silent. Klein stepped forward.
Mr. Voss.
You'll also face elder financial exploitation, mortgage fraud, embezzlement. Search warrants are executing now at your home and business. Brandon's voice cracked. Dad. Derek snarled at him to call the lawyer. Klein added, pleasantly,
Mr.
Jacobson is in custody too. Conspiracy. He's cooperating. Betrayal flashed in Derek's eyes. As deputies let him out. Mom stood tall. The only confused person here is you. Derek. I won't betray my mother or daughter. The words landed heavier than any blow. Derek sagged between officers. While I sat in the ER getting my cheek x-rayed, Derek's empire collapsed in real time. Attorney Vargas arrived with updates. Emergency asset freeze on every account. Property. Equipment. Bonding companies pulled coverage. City contracts halted. Riverside Development Foundation work stopped cold. Forensic accountants uncovered years of ghost projects. Tax evasion. OSHA violations buried with bribes. Silenced worker claims. Grandma's money was the latest chapter in a long pattern targeting vulnerable seniors. 3 other elderly victims surfaced, construction liens they never understood. Drained accounts. 2 had passed unaware. The third's family still untangled the mess. Federal charges followed. Wire fraud. Money laundering. RICO violations. Brandon was arrested trying to drain frozen accounts, upgrading him to co-conspirator. Mom and I returned to the house with police escort. Forensic teams had dusted for prints. Derek's office stripped bare. We changed every lock systematically, front, back, garage, master bedroom. Each new key symbolized reclamation. Harper's final accounting. Derek owed the trust nearly $400,000 after fraudulent loans and schemes. Company liquidation would cover most. The house stayed protected in trust perpetuity. Mom added a codicil ensuring immediate transfer to me if anything happened to her. No waiting. No probate. That evening we cooked together for the first time in years. No eggshells. No clock watching. We pulled out banished photo albums. Dad. Young grandma. Pre-Derek family gatherings. "We'll hang these again," Mom declared. "Make this home ours." Updates poured in, subcontractors filing liens. IRS audit announced. Crew families angry over unpaid work. Calvin no. Derek was denied bail as flight risk and danger to witnesses. He landed in protective custody after threats from cheated construction workers. The next day, I returned to the hospital with my purple bruise. Colleagues noticed. Dr. Patel pulled me aside. "You did good, Sophia." "Grandma did," I corrected. I followed her lead. A courier brought an envelope, a key, and Grandma's note directing me to the attic crawlspace. We found a hidden hat box with her real jewelry, wedding ring, pearl necklace, sapphire brooch, protected from Derek's inventory. Another note, "For my girls who are worth more than any treasure. We are Grant women. We endure, survive, protect our own." Trials loomed ahead. Derek facing decades. Brandon negotiating testimony for leniency. Publicity and testimony would test us. But justice moved forward. Partial restitution fund helped other victims. The Grant women endured. Months later, the bruise faded, but the lesson remained. Mom and I sat in the garden under the oak, tea steaming, photo albums open. The Victorian, now fully ours, felt alive again with laughter and light. Derek's name in Willow Creek now meant fraud, not success. The Voss Empire lay in ruins. The Grant women stood unbroken. Grandma Evie had seen what others missed. She taught me patience outlasts power. Silence can be strategy. And 3 generations of women protecting each other can topple any tyrant. That final smile she wore, the one I inherited and wore in the conference room, it was the smile of quiet triumph. Looking back, the moral lingers like autumn mist, how easily trust within family becomes weaponized, how long justice can take yet how complete it feels when it arrives. Would you have noticed the signs sooner? Would you have stayed silent as long? In the end, the real inheritance wasn't the house or accounts. It was the strength to reclaim what was stolen and the courage to smile through the pain, knowing the trap had already closed.